My name is Kimberly Rogers. I'm an assistant professor of coastal studies at ECU's Outer Banks campus. I was excited about coming to the Coastal Studies Institute. First of all, to be a coastal scientist actually living on a coast was pretty cool. I moved here from Boulder, Colorado. And I really was excited about the possibility of contributing to the growth of the program and its focus on interdisciplinarity in particular, and recognizing that so many people live along the coastline, and so you cannot extract the human dimensions when you're studying the landscape, the coastal landscape. It's difficult work to incorporate social science and physical science, but it's what's necessary to really understand what's happening in our coastal areas. Social science is the study of human society, human behavior, decision-making, those types of human process. It could also be how cultures guide the way people make decisions. Natural science is the study of, say, earth process. Here in an oceanographic setting, we would say natural science would be the study of the waves, the study of tides, the studies of the sediments that form our beaches. And you put those two things together, and what you are looking at is not only a blending of methods to understand both that social aspect and the natural aspect, but also a more complete understanding of the processes that are shaping our coasts. For instance, here in North Carolina, one of the things I'm interested in learning more about is the way many of the agricultural communities outside of the Outer Banks, what we call the Inner Banks, how they're coping with increased salinization of their soils. What type of additional steps are they having to take that may in turn be causing unintended consequences or feedbacks that may not be immediately visible. And one of the tools that I'm using to do that is numerical modeling, agent-based modeling, which allows me to basically take decision-making criteria and use those as rules as though I'm programming a game. And you can run the model based on both rules of physics, the laws of physics, or maybe I go out and I measure salinity, or I go out and measure what the concentration of sediment is in one of our coastal rivers. And I include that as one of the rules in my model, as well as, say, data that I've collected from talking with people. And I put those things together in the model and then let them run and see how they interact. I also use quite a bit of traditional sedimentological methods, which basically means that I have ways of going out and measuring mud in an environment. I particularly, unlike the Outer Banks, which is primarily sand, I use pretty low-key technology actually to measure sedimentation in marshes and in wetlands around the world. For instance, one of the things that I tend to use are very simple ceramic tiles that you can deploy in a wetland marsh, say before a storm. Leave that tile there and come back after the storm and collect it and measure how much new sediment has been deposited. One of the things I'm most interested in with coastal North Carolina is working on the inner banks, working on those coastal rivers that feed into our estuary. We have the second largest estuarine system in the United States here, and there's a lot of people who live along that 10,000 miles of coastline. And a lot of attention is given to the very in-your-face dynamics of the wave activity on the barrier island, and that's really important. But there's a lot of people and a lot of water behind that depend on the coastal ecosystems and depend on that and are influenced by that. So that's really what I'm most interested in getting into here in North Carolina, getting out and talking with people, talking with the fishermen, and what kind of changes have they seen over the last, say, decade or a couple of decades? What are the farmers seeing here? I think that Coastal Studies Institute is uniquely poised to be a leader in both interdisciplinary coastal education as well as coastal science, both internationally as well as locally for here of the people of the Outer Banks.